Good guys, my name is Lord Tomo. Welcome again to another Sonic the Hedgehog toy item collect view. As you know, I'm the good old blue star. I'm not the blue star. I'm the good old guy, Lord Tomo, with the good old blue star here, Sonic the Hedgehog, who is a French hedgehog and will be for the remainder of this year until he decides to go to a different part of Europe. Because that's what my hedgehog does. He's not Japanese, he's a European hedgehog to say the least. Let's get into the actual review. This is none other than Sad Sonic the Hedgehog from the Sonic Boom series, 8-inch line, Emoji series, the Emoji series plush. And this is, I'm going to say straight out of the bat, a phenomenal line of plushes. It does have a few shortcomings, which I will address, of course, when I get to them. But overall, for those who want a quick review, this line is absolutely phenomenal, to say the least. Now, for those who don't know, Sonic Boom is still a relevant thing. Yes, guys, classic Sonic isn't, I think, currently, well, it is, depending on who you talk to. But currently, they're trying to push the merchandising, for the most part anyway, the Sonic Boom series. And you know what? I've grown fond of it. I know a lot of people have been on the fence, and a lot of people have been negative about this particular series as a whole, both from a gaming point of view and a merchandising point of view. Totally understandable. But for me, I'm more or less always the positive side on merchandising, unless it's really bad. Which I have a few items which, when I get to them, it's just me being a negative Nancy. And my name isn't even Nancy. Shows you a lot about me already, to say the least. So basically, what makes this series in particular different from the other Sonic Boom series, which is the standard classic 8-inch line series and even the Super Deform Head series, is the fact that this series in particular users always refer to as the Emoji series. Essentially, what they do is they've made so far four, if I'm not mistaken, four. I'm pretty sure it's four. They will be releasing more, of course. For Sonic Sonic Boom or Sonic the Hedgehog Boom series plush lines, which looks exactly like this. Every single plush. The only difference is, being that it's the Emoji series, the faces are completely different. They did this for Sonic, they did this for Tails, and they will do this for Knuckles, which I'm so ecstatic to get. So when that comes out, you're going to definitely see me review that as it comes. But of course, we're going to be talking about this sad version, which I don't think he's sad. I think he's more worried than anything else. But it's actually sold as sad emoji, which nobody wants Sonic to be sad. There we go, Sonic. Let's go. It's all right. Dr. Robotnik has not won. Why am I patting his forehead? Do even hedgehogs even like that? Well, this one does, to say the least. Let's get into the actual details of this. Like I said, for the most part, it is a phenomenal plush. Of course, it does have shortcomings, so we'll address them as we get to them, of course. So straight at the bat, we're going to be talking about the actual head sculpt, and of course, we'll make our way throughout the whole plush itself. It's pretty weird, being that it's a plush, and people just say it's a good plush or bad plush or medium plush. Oh yeah. I like to go for the finer details and explain why I particularly like stuff. It's me. I'm trying to get them YouTube revenues. Not really. I don't really make that much money on this. It's purely a hobby. So let's get into the facial sculpt. Now, when I first received this in a package, his ears do come down. Of course, you can basically, it is more or less pressed. So if you leave them up there like that, it will basically just hold its position like that. So it's not that because it's Sonic Boom being sad, his actual ears pop down. It's just the way it was packaged, I guess, from a stitching and packaging point of view. But in hindsight, it actually makes sense if you have him down, because poor little Sonic is quite sad. But if you look closely to the actual stitching of it, you can see it is embroiled stitch, basically meaning that it is stitched all across. So it's not just one stitching, which is just one material. It is technically one material on top of another. And some of the questionable craftsmanship of older plushies, they just basically do one stitching line and away it goes, and it looks pretty, to say the least, crap. This one, if you look closely, there we go. It's basically just stitched in an embroil effect all around, so it actually looks seamless and looks perfectly well done. It is exactly the same on the other ear, and the ears themselves are literally just one material wrapped around and stitched to the top of the head. There's no actual stuffing in it like cotton or anything, which I think it works for it, to be honest. Generally, for the most part, I'm kind of against it, but I'm like, yeah, this works. It does perfectly. So you can have him like, if you put his ears up, it kind of makes him like, he's kind of like worried shock. What's going on? But if you have him down, he's kind of just like depressed Sonic. Because we need more depressed Sonic. You know what? That's one of the major key factors why I love about this series. The fact is you have Sonic in various arrays of different facial expressions where, let's be frank, when was the last time you ever saw that? I can't remember it. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure I can't remember it because it doesn't exist. But the fact that this series in particular does is extra. I was about to say something else. It is a phenomenally well featured for it, and I do believe a lot of people should pick this series up because, you know, I think it's unique in its own way. Of course, the next thing you're going to get to is his actual eyes, which is literally just from material, and the same effect that you have on his actual ears or his inner ear canal, you have across his actual eye socket or his what would you call them? I call them eye sockets. I guess some people, not a lot, but some people would say his outer eye sockets or his I guess eyebrows, which not really, but it is. So you do have this awesome embroiling effect that's happening all across his actual eye, which is eye sockets, which I think is phenomenal. Let's get a really see. You can definitely see it on his inner forehead. So I think, focus, my child. You did it before. But yeah, so you can definitely see that there from the inner part. And of course, if you look closely there, because, you know, there we go. You can definitely see that on his inner ear sockets, how it embroils. So it's phenomenally well stitched there, of course. Phenomenal, phenomenal, phenomenal. You're going to hear me say that throughout the whole review because this is well designed. Of course, the next feature you have is, of course, his eyes, which if you look closely, Sonic is looking at you. He cares about you. He can look inside your soul. You can't really see it because life. There you go. There you go. It does kind of have an embroider effect, but it's literally just, if I'm not 100% on technique, but I think it's pretty much just stitched on there. So you have his course, his black pupil and his yellow. I was saying yellow. He's green. I'm colorblind, guys. I'm now colorblind. He's green underlining, which is a unique way of creating an eye. Like if you look at everything, if you remove everything else and you just look at those to me look a bit weird. But if you add everything else, you see Sonic. It's a weird effect. It's a weird artistic style. It works, but it doesn't work. But it works when everything else is included. Don't ask me on how that magic works, but it does. Of course, you do have his nose, which is pretty much just kind of like a button-on effect, and I'll bring it in as close as possible. There you go. You'll focus when you want to. It's okay, camera. I can wait. We can all wait for you to do your job, which clearly you're not, to say the least. But there's his nose, and it does his thing. It's a nose. Of course, you have his full his nozzle, which is just his face, and it is what it is. It doesn't have the same embroiling effect that his actual eye socket does, or his inner ear canals have, which I think it works perfectly fine. I have absolutely no issues whatsoever. And of course, you do have his mouth, which does have the embroiling effect there. Focus. There we go. You can see how it basically. My camera isn't working with me. I hate you. I think everybody hates you, but I hate you especially. But come on, work with me. Work with me just today. I'll buy you ice cream. There we go. You can see the embroidering effect of his actual mouth, which kind of gives him a sad-esque look. So for the most part, it is phenomenal. I think it's his face does capture. It's sort of sad, but I think this is more worried than anything else. Like if push comes to shove and say, "Do you have that sad plush?" I'll be like, "Slow down, mate. It's not a sad plush. It is a worried plush. He's worried. Something about him is really, really getting to him. Maybe Amy Rose decided that she doesn't want him. She wants Shadow the Hedgehog. She wants a bad boy. A guy that's going to put a gun to her head and say, I love you, and she's going to have to comply. Maybe that's why Sonic is worried. Because Amy is in a domestic relationship with Shadow the Oh god, I have issues. So for the most part, it's phenomenal. And of course, you do have his head sculpt, which does have the obligatory spikes, which do come on either side, which is phenomenal, to say the least. So generally, from a frontal point of view, it does what it does. It gives you a sad look, and it gives you all the key features that is harmonious with Sonic, of course. That being said, there's a few shortcomings, and I will address them now because that's what I'm here for. If you look on the actual side itself, and let's do this side, his head is flat. Now the shortcoming in itself isn't that it's flat. It's its own unique style, which I think is phenomenal. That's not the defect. Not even a defect really. It's just a shortcoming in that I wish they would have added something. So it's more of an opinion, a negative opinion, to say the least, than an actual reliable critique of an actual review. Because let's be frank, there's subjective and there's objective reviewing. So that's me. I would have preferred if they added kind of like embroiling effect to add spikes at the actual back. I mean, that's what I wanted. That's what I wished for. Granted, these plushes in itself aren't designed necessarily to be placed to check at the back like other plushes, which I totally understand. Like I said, this is purely opinionated in this aspect right now. It does not take away from the creative, artistic style to the actual plush itself. I just wish they maybe have added like spikes, not extruding spikes like some of the other plushes, but maybe just kind of like a line or something, like spike lines, to say, hey, look, these are the spikes. But, you know, it is what it is, and its design works perfectly soft. So it is a shortcoming in that it's an opinionated shortcoming, but it's not really, if you think about it, its design is to be the way it looks like now. So how do you really critique that? You can't. It's kind of like, I wish they did that sort of thing. They do have another aspect of here. If you wish to hang your plush, which I think most people will do, and I probably will do, it does have kind of like this lanyard of sorts. It's not really a lanyard, it's this plastic, which if you hang it over time, it will basically just hang. Now, of course, every single plush does basically implement that. It basically goes through the head. The only thing that I can foresee in the future is eventually, maybe down the track, this is going to be weak and it's going to snap off eventually. And for collectors, depending on who you are, me in particular, I'm a completionist in that I want everything to be A-OK, or triple A. Let's go with that, triple A plush. I mean, I want everything to be intact for the most part. So those sort of collectors, I mean, I don't know what sort of collector you are, if you're just a casual, hardcore, whatever, or if you want to be a reseller of sorts, it will eventually affect, I guess, that, I suppose. But I'm going to have this purely just either hanging. I'm going to see like once I move into a new place, I'm going to set it up. You know, it is there. I wish it had a lanyard of sorts, kind of like a material base, not this flimsy plastic, which I feel it's going to rip off over time, purely dependent on you as an individual. Let's go further down to the actual body itself, which is extremely well stuffy. You do have, of course, his obligatory scarf, which is literally just a material which circles around and basically does a little knot connecting at the back. It is literally, I feel like it's kind of glued and stitched at the same time, meaning you cannot remove it. Then again, what would you? Sonic Boom figurines or plushies are designed to be, I guess, this way. So it is a standard cute little scarf of his, which is adorable. You do have his fat little Betty, which is, of course, if you look closely, and I'm gonna hope to God, there we go, it focused in on first go. I want to give myself a round of a clap, but I feel like it would defocus. But you can see how it does an embroidered effect around his big fat belly, which is exactly like his eyes and exactly like his eye sockets, and of course his ear canal, which is phenomenal. So he's got a fat belly. Now his actual hand is exactly on both sides. He does not have any fingertips or any fingernails like the standard old plushes or new plushes, depending on the generation, and it's perfectly fine. It is the way this plush line is designed to be cute, adorable, and emojiness. I'm going to coin that emojiness. It's literally just a big cylindrical oval-like circle. I've thrown so many objectives there. Objectives. Cylindrical, of course, hand, and it's just literally a material wrapped around, which is Sonic's bandage. I mean, it is what it is. It does exactly what it's meant to do, and I think it's adorable. And of course, if you look at his feet, it's exactly the same on either side. It is bent outwards, which means you can't push it forwards, which is a more opinionated aspect. But if you look closely, you do have his foot, which is literally just the same. It's not an embroidered effect, but it's literally just a stitched on material, of course. And maybe it will focus, maybe it won't. It really doesn't matter at this point, but it's not an embroidered effect of sorts. It is to an extent for the outer limit of the shoe, but yeah, this is just meh. You do have, of course, two materials. Is 1, 2, 3 materials on either side, which gives it the wrapping effect, which is, of course, harmonious to that of Sonic Boom. It's exactly the same on the other four. A drawback, of course, which is why I'm bringing this point up. I wish it had, for example, shoe grips or shoe grip lines to indicate that, you know, it's an actual shoe. Because I'm going to probably have this plush sitting like this, and I feel it does detract from it a bit. I just wish it had like little grip lines. Just me. It is what it is. Of course, if you go all the way to the back, you do have his actual tail, which is an embroidered effect, which you're going to see Sonic's butt. There's Sonic butt, people. If you have anything remotely unethical in your mind about Sonic the Hedgehog and you want to check out his butt, there's his butt. So his butt does have a little embroidered effect, which does give you this tail effect. I would have preferred it to be an actual tail, just a little waggling tail, but that's the effect they went for. And I would have preferred that effect to be on the back of the head to give it more of a spiked effect, meaning that would have been more drastic, because I figured if you're going to give him a tail like that, you might as well just add spikes. That's just me, because that's what I am. This does have a shortcoming, besides the few that I do mention, which is more opinionated than an actual shortcoming, is this massive tag over here. Oh my god, this tag is massive. I know why they have it. It's purely for advertising point of view. Just if this is in a store, kids are going to pick it up. Kids generally are like small kids. I know I was small back in the day, but generally speaking, smaller kids, they tend to pick things up based on how big it is, and I guess that's why they pick this up. If you open it up, it does have obligatory information, which I'm not going to bother reading or letting you focus. But let's look at the actual. Let's go. There you go. It's literally says Sonic Boom, and it has a picture of Sonic the Hedgehog, and it says Tommy. Did I mention this was made by Tommy? I think I didn't. Best time to basically say it is created by the manufacturer that is Tommy, which has made other merchandising. For fact, Tommy used to take on the license years ago, 20 years ago-ish. I'll probably say 15 years ago. They recited, and they just recently picked it up, and I think it's great. So, what do I think of this plush line? Phenomenal, for several reasons. Besides the way that it looks absolutely adorable, how often, if any, do you ever get a Sonic plush or Sonic merchandising or Sonic figurine that has him with a face other than a super snappy, super cool, super smiling face? None. So the fact that this comes along and say, hey, let's make Sonic sad, let's make Sonic sleepy, let's make Sonic, you know, in a different emoji face. Bonus, I mean, from a collector's point of view, who's basically, most of his collection looks pretty much the same in terms of size and whatever, variation is always key, especially for older collectors. And I'll probably dare say that younger collectors, if not younger people who want to collect Sonic other than the standard, I highly recommend it. I truly recommend this emoji line. I do recommend, of course, the Tommy's big head deformed ones, because I love that, to be honest. But this line in particular is phenomenal. How much does it cost? It costs about $15. A little steep for some people. For me, it's kind of like, you know, dust in the air sort of thing. I'm not rich, but you know, my hobby is Sonic, to say the least. But it's definitely, I personally, if I could recommend any series amongst anybody besides GE Entertainment's plush line, which looks like they're going to be stopped making it, which is a real bummer, I recommend the Tommy line, which is probably either the Emoji series or the Super Deformed, and simply because of how unique it is and how different it is. And let's be honest, when it comes to collecting Sonic plushes or any plushes, seeing the same thing over and over, unless you're super into your, you know, merchandising collection, people generally don't know the difference between one plush to another unless you have to explain it. But when you have this put against, let's for example, a Carlton plush, you can, why is my camera not focusing? You can, there we go. You can clearly see the difference. Like if you had this side by side, somebody can say, oh wow, this looks unique. Oh, this looks unique, you know. But generally speaking, some plushes, they look pretty much identical one for one, and unless you know those plushes are different, people won't. And I'm the sort of guy that collects stuff where it's not only for myself, but I have mates coming over and they can admire my stuff. $15. Where did I get it? I got it from a website called toywiz.com. You can definitely buy this on eBay. You can definitely buy this on local stores in either the UK, pretty sure Europe, and of course America. And of course you can get this on Amazon. I had to buy it from a website called toywiz.com. I have not advertised or endorsed by them. It's simply because they tend to have everything that I want Sonic related that I can never get in Australia. So, bonus points. Let me know what your thoughts on this. Do you like this? Do you like a sad, unpleasant, disappointed Sonic the Hedgehog? Does it make you sad? Maybe you could leave a comment to tell him how much he loves you. Oh, that's a bit creepy on my side. But anyway, guys, let me know what your thoughts on this. Do you like it? Do you hate it? Is it something unique? I generally love it. Speed on, take care, and of course, till next time.